Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Salute. Welcome, welcome. Good to see all of you. Yeah, we got a full crowd today. That's pretty wild. Starting, of course, with my beautiful co-pilot, Netter of Netters Network. I hope you're doing well. I came up to give you your drink, but you were in a meeting, so there's a drink for you sitting on the counter right now. So hopefully you can enjoy your liquid lunch. And welcome, Jesse Green. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome. And here's a nice little surprise. Lynn Green is here live. She's a wonderful supporter of the channel by always coming to the various streams after the fact to leave a comment. It's nice to see you live and in person for once, my dear. And of course, from the other side of the pond, Clifton 3D, he'll be hanging out with me in about a week. The conversation about fan films was so successful that we're going to dedicate a last call to that conversation. And I was able to connect with Mikey Sues because he went live today. So I was chatting with him a little bit. Going to have to rely on Netter to be a go-between because the only way to communicate with him is Facebook, and I am not going back to Facebook. So he may very well be joining us in a week as well. He at least said he was open to it. And, of course, the tired midnight blogger himself, Curtis Selby. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Super appreciate seeing you guys here. We do this now. Now we are doing this every weekday, starting at noon Central. So that's 1 Eastern, and I don't even know what time it is for you on the other side of the pond there, Clifton 3D. But I know it's got to be like after 7, right? You're home from work and whatnot, so you're probably it's probably a liquid dinner for you. So anyway, let's get into let's get into a little bit of Superman talk. I hope you like the thumbnail. I did not want to use specifically the drunken Superman from Superman 3. That was he's uh, it was very it was a good example of visual storytelling, right? As he's as he's reacting to this artificial kryptonite, his suit has become dirty. He's got a 5 o'clock shadow. His hair's all messed up. And I just wanted a good shot of Superman in a pub. The one thing I do like about that scene that does fit the liquid lunch concept, it's clearly taking place in the middle of the day. Superman is absolutely day drinking. But yeah, that wasn't really the look that I wanted to go for. I had some things to do here at home, so I used some vacation. You are on holiday. Wonderful. As soon as I hear from the plumber, I'm taking a nap. Good on you. Take advantage of the time. I think naps are underrated. Yeah, I think Jesse absolutely agrees with us on that one. Matthew Flynn, also from the other side of the pond. Welcome, my friend. Matthew Flynn, the gladiator of Chaos. He says, I have been paying much attention to this. Oh, I haven't been paying much attention to this as of late. Well, that's okay. I will get you caught up. I have paid attention to it, so you don't have to. Yeah, it's 7 p.m. there, so okay. I was in the right ballpark. And it's 10 a.m. in California, so this is more of a liquid brunch for Jesse Green. Plumber just called. He'll be here in the morning, so nap after the stream is over. That's fair. That's fair. Unless you feel that my voice is kind of ASMR-ish and you just want to go to sleep to the sound of me droning on, I would not be offended. That's perfectly fair. And you are 45 seconds. Just hit that little live, button at the bottom, and it'll get you up to within 4 seconds of what I'm saying. And you had a birthday cookie. Did you actually put a candle into the cookie? By the way, happy birthday to you, Jesse Green. Should I sing? Do you want me to sing? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jesse Green. Happy birthday to you. Have a great one. Have a great one, you crazy kid, you. Anyway, so we gotta back up a little bit. We gotta start with the fact that this new Superman Legacy, I believe they're calling it. At least that's what I put into the thumbnail. I hope. But you know what? Then again, nowadays they change the name of the movie while it's in the theater, so we never know from day to day what the name might actually be. So, Leia plus size. Wow, it's kind of old home week today. Seeing a lot of faces haven't seen in a while. It is 1 p.m. on the East Coast. You're absolutely right. And thank you so much for being here. And again, we do this every day at this time. If it fits in with your lunch, great. Would love to have you here. If it doesn't, just hit watch later and you can catch me after work or whenever is convenient. So we're just coming off of the whole Snyderverse thing, right? Snyderverse is over. Sorry, Snyder bros. Those of you that were just all into that dark and broody and neck snapping, version of the DC universe, that's done. And although this isn't what I wanted to really specifically get into today, it does appear to me that the ambiguity between the Peacemaker TV series continuing and how it was originally set in the Snyderverse and is going to apparently blend into the new one looks like there's apparently an explanation, and it does involve some multiverse type shenanigans. It's a different Peacemaker played by the same actor from a different universe. Yeah, whatever. I don't watch the show. I've just kind of heard about it tangentially. Superman, James Gunn, written by James Gunn. Superman's James Gunn, written by James Gunn, directed by James Gunn, starring James Gunn's brother and a dog. Well, a CG dog, but yes, you're absolutely right. Saw the trailer. I tear up reminded of the 70s Superman. We'll get into that, definitely. And James Gunn thinks farmers who have to worry about tornadoes live in double wides. Well, he's actually writing from actual experience. There are some. And again, let's be very clear. He's talking about a very a private family farm as opposed to that doesn't, cover all the farmers, in the U.S. We could get into a whole separate topic about, farming and so forth. Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube. Sorry I'm behind. That's okay. You can play in fast forward to get caught up. You could just jump to where I'm at. You could do that too. That's perfectly fine. Of course, you can always rewind and listen again if you so choose. That's one of the benefits of this particular format. So anyway, yeah. So during the Snyderverse, we were presented with a Jonathan Kent who values his son's privacy above all, is in every way the antithesis of every Jonathan Kent that's gone before, because every Jonathan Kent before has raised him to be a self-sacrificing, put other people first, take responsibility kind of guy, right? Salt of the earth. That's why his parents were farmers. Midwestern farmers, right? Literal salt of the earth type people. But unfortunately, in the nihilistic Zack Snyderverse, it's more you gotta protect your secret identity and you need your privacy and put yourself above everyone else, which is exactly what you don't teach somebody who has godlike powers. You teach them humility and humanity, not narcissism. So I was talking yesterday. Oh, by the way, little quick divergence. I was supposed to have been on one person's channel yesterday, and I ended up on somebody else's channel. Completely screwed up. I was letting everybody know that I was going to be on Brandon the Anime Guy's channel last night for his stream, and somebody else sent me a link, and so I ended up on JoesAtmosfere's channel last night. Completely accident. And once I was on the show, I'm like, well, I'm not just going to bow out on him and, whatever. So I screwed up. I did. I screwed up. But while I was on JoesAtmosfere, we were talking about this a little bit. That's kind of what prompted me to want to talk about it a little bit more today. And we were talking about, yeah, actually, that's pretty much it. Let people die. Let me die. Protect yourself. Yeah, this whole don't protect me. I'm just gonna step right into this tornado. It's like, seriously, that makes zero sense. Yeah. One of the things that Joe, I can't remember now if it was Joe or someone else on the panel who pointed out that that whole thing about don't rescue me is ridiculous because Clark totally could have saved his father and protected his secret identity, and no one would have been the wiser. But, you know, it really did come off like, I'd just rather die than have you as a son. That's kind of how it came off. So you got that. You've got the neck snap thing. You've got the a lot of people were pointing out the whole just destruction all around him, mostly because it's his own fault. He does nothing to mitigate that, does nothing to rescue people. He's just focused on the fight. And as a divergence, keep in mind, this same story, this is literally a remake. This is a remake combining the first two Christopher Reeve Superman films, right? So this battle in Metropolis already happened between Zod and Superman in Superman 2. And, oh, you know, it wasn't his fault, you know, da, da, da. It's not his fault, it's his responsibility. And how did Clark deal with it in Superman 2? He ran. He ran and goaded them to follow him to his Fortress of Solitude, where they could battle without anyone else getting hurt. See, it's all in the writing, right? Oh, the neck snap. Well, he had no choice. You forget, this is fiction. This isn't like a documentary where you're just saying, this is what happened. Draw your own conclusions. This was writers choosing to put him in a situation to make him a killer. And honestly, that's not how Superman operates. Superman values life, and he finds a way. Because he's also got a super brain. Just because the writers don't have that kind of a brain, you know, doesn't mean Superman doesn't. That is the problem. So, yes, that's exactly. Oh, well, it's funny you say that. In Superman for All Seasons, and you did say and Smallville, he saved someone in the exact situation. Yes, as I recall, wasn't it Lana who got pulled up into a tornado, and Clark literally goes into the tornado and guides her down. And it's implied that he was starting to tap into his flight ability, even though he didn't specifically fly. I don't remember the exact words. We will be revisiting Smallville in the future. In the movie, the way it was presented, the people who have stepped around the heat vision beam easily in Smallville, it was a man from town in the comics. Okay. Yes, exactly. I was thinking that two of those were concurrent or just past, and the third was a little over a decade past. Yeah. Yeah. The theory, the belief is that there was this concept, no tights, no flights. Whether or not that was Tom Welling's mandate or the show's, we've never been 100% clear about. To me, still, Gunn is not the right director for Superman. He does not understand Superman or the aspirational hero. I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt so far, right? Just because he hasn't done it doesn't mean he is incapable of doing it. And let me bring it back to this specific trailer. So I'm not going to I'm not even going to risk the wrath of Warner Brothers. So I'm not going to be bringing up scenes. I'm not going to be, doing the live reaction thing. I'm going to assume that if you have any interest in this trailer, you've already seen it. But the focus of it, the primary frame, is Clark Kent and Lois Lane are dating. This is before they're married, but after they've got history, obviously. She knows that Clark is Superman at this point. And Clark offers to allow her to interview him as Superman. So she's like, great. And she starts her little mini recorder. He makes a reference to her being Walter Cronkite, which of course is a reference back to the first Superman movie where Lois Lane interviews Superman. And I thought this was a great reimagining of that scene. It was, I mean, you have to assume that the original interview probably still happened, because there had to have been someone who interviewed Superman early in his career, but he's been Superman for a while, so now there's a bit of a modern touch base type of thing. And what she does seems pretty harsh, but it is her being professional and asking the objective questions that an interviewer should address. She's talking about his deciding to take action in another country, which has at least perceived ramifications on the U.S. and the administration. And she does it in a more or less adversarial, antagonistic kind of way, as a hard-hitting journalist should, I think. She's not doing softball here. The way Snyder Bros view Superman is more like Homelander from The Boys. That is a huge problem, but I agree with you 100%, Matt Flynn. Once you start to fly, it's beyond me. Something like that in the pilot. Pa made the possibility of Clark flying around sound bad, and Clark subconsciously denied himself. Well, there's a lot you can unpack there, right? This idea of Clark not wanting to think of himself as being above other people, right? He was never comfortable with that. He had that humility, and he wanted to stay grounded. He didn't want his head in the clouds. All of these kinds of elements, which are positive, but it never allows him to live up to his potential. And finally, by the end of Smallville, he understands that doing what he is capable of doing, kind of going back to, what Clark says to his father, Glenn Ford, in the original movie. Is it being boasting if a bird can fly, if I do what I'm capable of doing? He finally realizes this is not who I am. It's just what I can do. That's very, very important. People yesterday were objecting to their behavior in the interview. Clark asked his girlfriend to interview him and was shocked that prize-winning reporter Lois Lane interviewed him. Yes, that's exactly right. She's doing you no favors by look and see. This is where I'm a little bit hopeful that this line of storytelling is going to be the good kind of commentary on the modern world, right? There's a lot in there, and we'll get into it in a little bit. There's a lot in there about the whole Instagram, mentality and all that kind of stuff, the online cancel culture, all this kind of stuff. It is the world we live in, and it would be actually kind of unwise not to completely ignore that in this film. But also, we also have this weird dichotomy that we're starting to have with the modern media, where on the one side they take a very, very partisan stand and then do hit pieces on people, which that's not journalism. And nobody respects that, except for people that just want to be in an echo chamber, and then they don't want the news. They want propaganda, right? And the other is the softball. It's kind of the other side of that coin. You're doing hit pieces on the people you don't like, and then you're doing softball things like, hey, Mr. President, what kind of ice cream do you like? when there's important things to be talking about, right? Maybe, questioning his perspicacity and his ability to be president. Just saying, right? He did seem a little too defensive even for that, though. Okay, yes, and that's what I was getting to when I was talking about the Snyderverse, right? Where he destroys the city in his battle with Zod, and a whole bunch of people get killed, and he does nothing to protect them and nothing to save them. That was a huge a backlash from fans about that. So they tried to change that with future Snyderverse films, and it doesn't work because there was never the outrage from people. In fact, when he dies, everyone is mourning him. They're so sad, just like the comics, right? But they didn't establish why anyone cares. They should have seen him as a menace and hated him. See, that's the problem. So I'm just talking about that iteration of Superman, the way he was told by Zack Snyder. And what did we all say? We all said Superman cares more about life than he does about his own personal safety. That's the whole point of the death of Superman. He's literally willing to die protecting Metropolis, right? So I do believe that is exactly the reaction. I mean, here's my point. I think this is the summation, even though I haven't finished making my whole argument, over the course of this hour. I'm gonna front load with my main point is, if we don't give credit where credit is due, as fans, we are hypocrites. That's what I'm getting at. We lambasted Snyder for Superman being callous, not rescuing people, not protecting people, and then literally killing his enemy. So now Gunn is literally displaying front and center, he cares about people's lives. Why did you do this thing? Didn't you consider, the administration and the politics and No, I did not. People were going to die. I went to protect them. That's what I do. And I was acting alone. I wasn't acting as a representative of the administration. Does he react? Does he overreact? Yes, he does. That is a narrative way of showing how passionate he is about protecting people. Now, is it unfair that he snapped at Lois? Yes, it was. But again, that's a reaction to her not being and not expecting her to be his girlfriend, someone who understands him, someone who empathizes with him, and being caught off guard by her being, as he might have seen it in the moment, kind of callous. Way objective, right? She understands what he's saying. He feels like she doesn't, right? And that's something I think that's very human, that we all... Look, think about your interactions online, right? How quickly you can become defensive with someone who probably is in a lot of agreement with you, but you don't understand the tone because it's in the written word, so on and so forth. So you snap at them, and then it becomes something unkind, right? But that's not Clark. Clark's not like that. He is always, soft-spoken and understanding and this and that. Yes, but even Superman struggles, right? Sometimes he blinks, that's the human side. That has been the biggest problem with all of the Snyderverse, the Bryan Singer version, and yeah, I won't even get too into Mankiewicz on this one. I'd say because Christopher Reeve had so much of a role in the characterization of Clark, they maintained it. But everyone since then has very much lost track of the wisdom and the centeredness of Superman. And I will get, again, if this is as early in his career as it seems to be, that I'll give him. I'll give him losing his cool a little bit with Lois in an interview. That's not the same as, well, he has to learn not to kill by snapping somebody's neck. That is unacceptable. But not having your feelings under control all the time and, being chill and zen, that's something maybe he can learn as he go. And I get that. Real quick, I want to say hi to longest running superhero RPG. Greetings, my friend. Check out his channel where he is talking about his very, very long running superhero RPG, telling some very interesting takes on the DC story based on his long-standing role-playing game. I don't know, Troy. The Lois interview Clark scene in the trailer seems more like a deconstruction of what Reeve and Kidder did in the OG movie. It just did not work for me. It could not be the same interview that you see with Reeve and Kidder, because they are at different places in their relationship and they are different people. They just are. That Lois Lane was not able to remove her fawning for Superman from her objectivity, which I always felt was a bit of a disservice to Lois Lane. This one is able to do that. She is able to say, the girlfriend Lois, putting her aside. I am the professional Lois, and I'm going to ask these questions. It's not a deconstruction. It's professional. See, we got to also not go for the jugular all the time. If it's not 100% my liking, it's absolute crap. No. If they get it 98% right, forgive them the other 2%. Okay? Just because it doesn't fit with your... Again, be objective. Put aside your fawning for Superman and be the Pulitzer Prize winning objective reporter for a moment, right? And look at it all in context. I should say something else about in context. I did put this into the description below. Trying to figure out what this movie is going to be about from a trailer is kind of like Plato's allegory of the cave, right? The allegory of the cave is you're trapped inside of a cave. You don't know what's going on outside. All you see is shadows on the wall of what's going on outside. So you make inferences. That is literally what a trailer is. And we've gotten a number of trailers, and they're all giving us little pieces of the pie. And we don't know for sure. We can only speculate. Let's not assume the worst. Be prepared for the worst. Be concerned that it might be the worst. But let's be hopeful. Remember what that symbol on his chest means, right? It's always possible. It's always possible. I think the people throwing soda cans at his head are a stand-in for all the fans who hate the classic Superman. Okay. That is one possible interpretation of the shadows on the wall. I'll give you another interpretation. Those people throwing soda cans at his head are all the Snyder Bros and all the people that are quick to make decisions and condemn the thing before they even understand it, before they even know what's going on, right? Look at the reactionary people online right now. People that are either for or against the current administration, that are either for or against the previous president, right? They have their tunnel vision. They've already decided. Heck, even look at every single person who's ever been Me Too'd. Well, I'll never watch his movies again. Although you don't stop to pay attention to the court case where it turns out There is zero proof that anything that was alleged at this person actually happened, right? Boy, especially you look at the Johnny Depp trial. Not only is there no evidence of the things that is being alleged against him, he's literally got proof that either it didn't happen, character witnesses that says never happened to me, and evidence that in fact he was the one that was the victim of abuse. And I actually think that the Johnny Depp one is the perfect analogy. So I think you could make an argument that these people castigating Superman are like Amber Heard supporters. They've formulated their opinion unfairly, and that's who is the actual stand-in. And if you think about it, if you think about who wrote this and how he was Me Too'd and how he was unfairly treated online, kind of makes sense, right? Likewise, I've heard fans for years say they hate that Superman can't be hurt. So the first trailer showed him knocked into the ground bleeding, begging his dog to help him to diffuse those arguments. There you go. That's my point. And now everybody is saying, well, I don't want to see Superman bloodied and beaten. And it's like, okay, you are going somewhere where I can't follow you as a fan. You have now taken both sides and they're mutually exclusive. At one hand, you don't like that he's got no fallibility. On the other hand, you don't want to see him have any fallibility. It's like he's either a wimp or he's impossible to hurt. Good storytelling is in the middle, right? I mean, I'm sorry, but Christopher Reeve, his Superman got hurt, right? I mean, he lost his powers and got beaten by a guy in a diner, right? He got beaten up he had a metaphysical battle with himself. He fought the Bizarro / Nuclear Man. There is no story if he can't be beaten. The importance is why. Why is he hurt? You know, the Zack Snyder Superman was protecting himself, so he doesn't get hurt, right? But this Superman puts other people first. Maybe that's why because otherwise you don't have the death of Superman either, So this is what I'm talking about. Let's not be hypocrites as we're looking for reasons to hate this thing, right? Well, in the movie, George Newbern, Tim Dahley version had it. Dean Cain had it. Even Tom Welling had it. Yeah, I am kind of focusing more on the big screen because we're trying to get a decent big screen back and going. I think Superman's emotions in the interview counter complaints that he's always perfect and he's unrelatable. That's exactly it. And what have I been saying all this time? Most of you have been saying the same thing, right? They don't focus enough on the man. They only focus on the super. Well, all we got was super from the Man of Steel Snyderverse. Now, when he starts focusing on the man, we're going to give him crap about that too. That seems a little unfair. Also, they were meeting for a second time, just getting to know each other. That's a very different relationship. Yes, that's exactly right. It's a different relationship when she knows that he is both Clark and Superman. We don't know how much history they have, but they have a good deal of knowledge of each other. Whereas Lois has no clue. She's even seeing Clark later that evening, and she's still all head in the clouds with Superman, right? I want to see Lois be a little bit more Noel Neal. Noel Neal never did what Margot Kidder did and just kind of all fawned and lost track of what she was doing. Even when Superman was there, she kept it professional. I think almost everything Gunn is doing is to counter fan objection. So ironically, the real villain of the movie is those fans. Yeah. Especially if you're going to give him crap about it. It's like he's literally doing what we've been complaining about all this time, and now we're going to give him crap again. Now, I admit this could still, go caca, right? He may be doing this and not do it well. We don't know for sure. But so far, he's broadcasting a pretty decent message. Welcome, Joe's Atmosphere. As I was saying earlier in the stream, I was over on his stream yesterday, and a lot of that kind of spawned what I wanted to talk about today. And he celebrates 2 months of membership. Thank you so much, my friend. Loved having you on to talk about this on my show last night. Tune in to Liquid Lunch weekdays. I'm still amped for Superman. Salute, my friend. Thank you so much. I see more of the modern attempt to make DC like Marvel, where the heroes are feared and distrusted. Well, I hate to tell you this, Lynn, but DC's already covered this ground back in the late 80s, early 90s. This is hardly modern anymore. This is trying to have some sort of realism. You eventually do have to consider there are going to be some people that aren't into the fawning over Superman, right? There are Lex Luthors out there. And in a world like we have today, with the way technology works, unfortunately, you're going to have people that are going to buy into that, right? And this has been the storyline in the comics for decades now. This isn't post 2000. This goes 20 years before 2000. So this is just catch up. This isn't even modern. I think the issue is that the first image of the new version is a defeated Superman. Yeah, and I'm going to say that's probably more marketing than anything, right? Probably not a good message to send because they didn't think through how it would be perceived by the fans. But again, we are the allegory of the cave. We are figuring, is that really what we're seeing? Is that, where this starts out? Is there enough, even if it starts en medias res, in the middle of the battle, right? And this is a scene that takes place early in the movie. Is there an implied, backstory where, he's been fighting a long fight and, rescuing people and so on and so forth? We don't know the context. Context is king. If the trailer showed him in all those other scenes, saving people, getting food thrown at him, confronting the Justice Gang, and ended with him beaten, it would have. Well, then you'd have the movie. That's what you want, is the whole movie in place of a trailer. It doesn't work that way. I will admit that it was bad optics, bad marketing, but you can't have it all in a trailer. Still would have been critics, but not as bad. No, yes, that I absolutely agree with you on. Loved Reeves changing from Clark to Superman and back, all without changing his clothes. I am still working on a standalone video because I am getting sick and tired of all the people that mock everybody in the comics for not being able to recognize Superman just because he wears a pair of glasses. It's way more than that. And I'm also going to demonstrate how there are so many celebrities that look so much alike, they are mistaken for each other. Just saying. There's a story that I can't remember which actress's mom it was, whether it was Keira Knightley or Natalie Portman, on the set of whichever Star Wars movie it was they were both in, and mom went up to her and started talking. Oh, no, I'm the other one. Your daughter's over there. Oh, sorry. Her own mother didn't recognize her, or mistook them, you know. My theory is because James Gunn loves animals, Crypto is the real protagonist, like the good boy he is. I'm half joking about that. I think this is, again, clever marketing. I'm sorry for people that don't like Crypto, but old-time fans love Crypto. Crypto is a good boy and has been used to incredible dramatic use throughout his tenure in the comics. Look back at the death of Supergirl and the what was it? Whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, and how Superman that out of context panel that they always show of Superman from above, with his hand, with his face in his hands, and he's crying, and Crypto is just sitting there at his feet. It is heartbreaking, but that is Crypto. Plus, again, if you want this movie to be successful, it's got to be successful in the marketing. And I guarantee you that Crypto is going to be the Grogu Baby Yoda of this. You're going to have Crypto plushies and toys and figures all over the place. I guarantee it. And that's not a bad thing, because that goes to the bottom line and pays for the next movie. No, I mean, same trailer, different order. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. You can blame the marketing department for that. All of that. If I recall, it was Natalie Portman's mom. Yeah, who went up to Keira Knightley. I think you're right about that, Lynn. I wasn't 100% certain. If you hurt the dog, I will walk out. Do not care. Not anything DC put out. Yes, I get it. I get it. But that does kind of force them to make the dog more the hero than anything. I knew of the death of Superman, even saw the cover, so a beaten up Superman intrigued me more. Are people too tired of their nostalgia to not give this a fair shake? The S lost me after Batman 89. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt to the fans, because if most of them are like me, it's not being tired of nostalgia. It's being sick and tired of misrepresentation of nostalgia. If you're going to give me nostalgia, give me nostalgia. Take the comic book story and turn it into a movie. But they don't do that. They pretend they're going to do that. They hint at that, and then they give you a twisted version of it. Or, as I said with Zack Snyder, they give you the death of Superman without giving you the decades of story that led up to it. You can't have the death of Superman. You can't have The Dark Knight Returns without the establishment of these characters. It matters that Superman dies after a career of protecting people. It matters that Superman and Batman fight after decades of being friends and allies, right? If the first time you meet, you're having that battle, it's a very different thing, Why did you say that name? Why do you not know? Why do you not know that your mothers had the same name? This is something that both Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent would know when they're in their 50s. That's the problem that fans have with the nostalgia part of it. Thank you for the shout out, Troy. Absolutely. Together we grow. Memorial Day weekend, we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of our RPG with a Superman story, no less. Brilliant. That is brilliant. Another issue Gunn has, Superman is the second or third thing out after Creature Commandos and Peacemaker season 2. And the third is Supergirl. If Superman fails, Supergirl is dead. Yeah, you're right. Could it fail? Yes. But it is by no means as certain as things like the Thunderbolts and whatever else Marvel is putting out and whatever else Disney is putting out. We look at this stuff and we go, we know this isn't even going to break even. This one, it's got a lot of positive buzz, and even a lot of people that don't like Gunn and don't think he can do a good job are still planning to go see this movie. Apparently, I'm still of the type that I no longer go to movies opening week. I will wait and hear the reviews from people that I trust. Next Batman movie is not in the Gunverse. Hold off on that. We just talked about this on Geeky Geezers, and it looks to all the world like the Patterson Batman is probably dead in the water. It's probably not going to happen. But again, like I was saying on Joe's Atmosphere yesterday, this is Warner Brothers' own problem. They've literally split the proverbial baby, and they've been doing this for decades, and there's no reason for it. When Marvel did it, they didn't have a choice. They didn't have rights to their own characters in some cases, right? So they had to work around it to the best of their abilities, and they pulled off Avengers up the whole arc leading up to Avengers Endgame. DC had the opportunity to do that, and they blew it. And it's as bad as we can't do Wonder Woman set in World War II because they've already done Captain America. That's your own damn fault. You had the rights to this character free and clear. You could have done it 20 years ago, and you didn't. You let them beat you to the punch. It's like the tortoise and the hare with Warner Brothers. They're just sitting around letting Marvel eat their lunch, crossing the finish line and going, oop, we better do something now. And that's how you get the Snyderverse. You may have a point there of the interview scene, but still for me, I feel something cynical about it. I could be wrong. I will wait and see the movie in full context. Yes, that is all I'm saying needs to happen. That's why I kind of just said the same thing. I'm not seeing it opening week. I want to hear that my concerns are assuaged. I'm just saying it's unfair to assume it's going to be bad, to look for it to fail. Okay? Don't be the toxic fan that they accuse you of being, right? Be true in your conviction and expect the best. Yes, prepare for the worst, but expect the best. Matt Reeves' movie is in limbo. Might not happen, or might mean no Gun Batman for 10 years. Well, look, I don't think that is a bad outcome. We have had so many Batman movies. It's time to let Batman rest for a while, because unfortunately, the as much as I loved Batman 89, all the wrong lessons were learned by Batman. And that's how we got to the Snyderverse. Everything had to be dark. Everything had to be broody. Make Superman like Batman. How does Andre from Midnight's Edge put it? He says, make it Flying Bat. Make it Woman Bat. Make it Water Bat. And that was the whole idea for the whole Snyderverse, right? Leave Batman alone. Batman's his own thing. We can revisit him after we establish Superman. After we establish this new continuity. Then we could bring Batman back, and even if Creature Commandos was a good show, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I have to apply the same thing I say to Marvel and Disney and all that to Warner Brothers as well. I don't care what you do on your streaming service. You can call it canon if you want to, but you have to know that only a small percentage of your potential audience for the movies are going to have seen it. That is the biggest problem with Thunderbolts, which I'm hearing a lot of people say was a good movie. The problem is, to understand what the F is going on in that movie, you have to have watched, what was that? You have to watch Secret Wars. You have to have watched Winter Soldier and Captain Hawk, Captain Falcon. Uh, it was the same problem with what was the into the universe of madness or whatever. You had to have watched WandaVision, right, to find out, what her whole story. So you have all these story elements that nobody knows about. Now they're even referencing stuff from the Eternals, which nobody watched. That is the problem with these shared universes. Your stories need to stand alone. You can pepper in Easter eggs that fans of the other stuff will enjoy, but you should not make that mandatory to understand the overall story. So I'm going to say the same thing about Creature Commandos. I have not seen it. That will impact my viewing of this new Superman movie not at all. I'll have to rely on people on the internet to say, did you catch that Easter egg from the Creature Commandos? No, not at all. Never underestimate the idiocy of the Warner Brothers think tank. Yeah, you're absolutely right on that, Joe. Actually, I like this comment too. Jesse says, could have Joss Whedon Wonder Woman. That would have been interesting. I could have seen that. But again, he gets Me Too'd. They were late to the game on Wonder Woman, so that's the problem we have. And speaking of late to the game, Big Al is saying, sorry I'm late. I had an issue. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you are feeling better, my friend. Whedon Wonder Woman with, I'm going to screw this up, Morena Baccarin as Diana. I mean, the name sounds like she'd have made a good Diana, sure. Let's see here. Joshua V, haven't seen you in a while. Good day, my friend. Hope to see you here every day for lunch if you can get away and join us. I haven't finished Creature Commandos yet. I almost said closed captions. The Warner execs. Whoops. I meant to bring up Lynn's comment. The Warner execs think all Kate movies are the same. Batman, Superman, Watchmen. Yeah. And they are not. They are very, very different. Movie must recap or summarize things. And you know what? Sometimes it's not that difficult. Sometimes it's just one line to explain everything they need to know about that platform series. So how are you dealing with your son being an alien? Yeah, exactly. And then you want to even follow up on that? You have someone else involved in the conversation. Son's an alien? It was, and sum it up real quick. Yeah, too much homework. You shouldn't have to do homework to enjoy a movie. From Firefly. Okay, I'll look into her. I'll have to. Oh, the one who played Inara. Okay. Was she the one that was in Deadpool? That girl? Yeah, she'd have made a great Wonder Woman. Absolutely. And yes, you could argue maybe she's a little short. I'm sorry, we've had short actors made to look tall using filming angles and all that kind of stuff. So let's, but yes, Joe is confirming it was her. Okay. Yeah. I honestly didn't even know her name, but yeah, fair enough. So that's really the whole point that I was getting at is let's reserve our judgment. Let's be as charitable as we can with our interpretations of what's going on, given the ambiguity being, the allegory of the cave. What we don't know, let's not make bad assumptions. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. That's really what I'm getting at. So, one of my biggest concerns, for example, from previous trailers was this looks like it's the Hawk Woman, what do you call it? Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific movie. Does Superman even have a role in it? Now this trailer is all Superman, and you barely get glimpses of those other characters. So now we really do have to take a wait and see approach. Again, I'm late. Am I in trouble? No, you're not, because you have the ability to rewind and watch from the beginning. But just a reminder to everybody, we start every day at noon Central, 1 Eastern. If you want to join us for Liquid Lunch, I would be glad to have you. Make it appointment viewing. If you can't make it, or for whatever reason, that's what the rewatch is for. You just when it comes up on your phone, because you hit that notification bell, it comes up on your phone. You just hit watch later, and then when you get home, you'll have a list of watch laters, and this will be one of them. At least that's my hope. So tonight, I'll be on Netter's Network, where she will be interviewing the Jinja Ninja. So, of course, you know how this works. She'll have the link to his channel. Make sure that you go subscribe and watch a couple of videos there. Hit the like button. Together we grow. And then tomorrow's Liquid Lunch, I think this is going to become the regular thing for Friday. I'm going to be mixing my drinks on Fridays and talking about the drink I'm planning to have that night, or a drink that I haven't talked about before. So like tomorrow I'm going to be mixing up a brown mumbler. I'll tell you the history of that drink. That is what I will be drinking Friday. But a brown mumbler is oftentimes my go-to drink, so I don't want to talk about that every Friday. So, I may not necessarily talk about it just because that's what I'm drinking on Friday. Main problem with James Gunn's superhero movies is that he radically alters pre-established characters. Has he? I'd need an example of that. He's done a lot of characters. You could make that argument about the Guardians of the Galaxy. But here's the thing to remember. Yes, we want them to appropriately adapt these characters, but sometimes when a movie version deviates from the pure canon of the comics, they elevate it. And I would argue that Guardians of the Galaxy was a great example. These were characters that most people didn't even know. So they had a lot more latitude to take license. And people loved those characters as they were changed. Now those changes are filtering into the comics. Hate to point this out to you, but the wonderful, Richard Donner Superman made a lot of changes to the canon. And they were so beloved that they are now recurring in the comics. They've become the established canon now in the comics. That crystalline city of Kryptonopolis and the look of the Fortress of Solitude, very different from what was in the comics. But now it's the norm, right? Lois Lane having a problem with smoking and constantly trying to quit. That started with Margot Kidder. That didn't exist in the comics prior to that. Now they talk about it in the comics as well. Her Lois Lane being a bad speller, never mentioned in the comics before Margot Kidder made it a thing, and now it keeps coming up in the I say in the comics, but it happens in the cartoons, it happens in all the other iterations. So just because changes are made, that's not a bad thing. They need to be good changes. They need to be done for a reason. Look, there's a lot of changes that have been made to your favorite characters over the year. Sometimes taking out some things that were kind of cringy and smoothing them over a little bit. Sometimes that's a very good way to do it. Gunn is great with oddballs and misfits. Superman is not a character archetype he's done before. Then you should give him the benefit of the doubt. Just because he hasn't done it doesn't mean he can't. Just because he hasn't done it doesn't mean he can't. Yes, we know he's good at oddball team-up groups, which is why, the Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy and Peacemaker and all that. Yes, that's his wheelhouse. Let's not typecast him. Maybe he's capable of way more than that. That's all I'm saying. And if you don't go to see Superman opening week, that doesn't make you a bad fan. It just makes you cautious. Because, well, I mean, I guess I'm not being objective on that one. I have a bias because I'm not planning to see it. And I don't want you to think I'm a bad fan. I'm just I'm being optimistic, but cautious. Trust but verify. That's what Reagan said. So that's it. We actually went a little over. So if you guys had to bow out, I totally understand. That's perfectly acceptable. But I am going to wrap this up. Thank you for having your lunch with me today. Your liquid lunch. I should probably go get a booze sponge now so I can get back to being productive. But I thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. Please remember that I will be doing this every day, at least during the week at lunchtime. So if you're available, please do. Please hit that notification bell so that you know when these post, so that you can watch them later if you don't get a chance to see them live. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. It really matters. I am trying to reach 1750 by midsummer with sites on 2000 by the end of the year. So you can also help by sharing these streams out to hit a larger audience. If you like what I do here, chances are your friends are going to as well. So, a little word of mouth would go a really, really long way. And that's it, guys. I thank you so much. You have a wonderful one. You take care. And I will hopefully see you on Netters Network later tonight. Otherwise, tomorrow for Liquid Lunch. Take care.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high.